Yes, people. What's going on? Welcome back to Saeed TV, and we are live for the debate show. Um, we weren't actually meant to talk about this. We are meant to talk about Man United and the lack of not being clinical. But we are here today to discuss the breaking news, and that is that Jim Ratcliffe is now the front runner to become the new owner of Manchester United Football Club. Here today to discuss it with me, a very disgruntled Neeks there. I can see you shaking your head, but Neeks, how are you first and foremost?
Yeah, I'm all right, man. I'm not like all things being equal. It's a long weekend, bank holiday weekend. I'm okay, but
Yep.
yeah, this news obviously upset my spirit a bit. But yeah, we'll get into that.
Absolutely. We got Adam, Professor Adam. How are you? Adam, you all good?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. Alhamdulillah, I'm all right. I'm all right. But I just heard about the news. Like with the time zones, I just not always on Twitter. Just found out about this, so let's dive into it. Well, I hope you guys are all good. I hope everybody's all right.
Yeah, definitely all good, man. Michael, everything all good as well?
Yeah, I mean, Man United aside with all the news, everything else is good. We got playoff basketball tomorrow, so life's all good over here. Just gotta worry about
Lakers in six.
Lakers hype. Lakers hype, man. Yeah.
Ooh, that was clinical. Man dropped. Sorry,
Hey,
man dropped
that's for the
40.
sports.
Sorry. Man dropped 40. Dylan Brooks said, "Give me 40," and Lakers beat them by 40. And that was poetic.
Yeah, it's mad. It's mad. I'm going to read the super chat here before we talk about the Glazer. It says, you talk about Nunes and Gakpo a lot. Gakpo's done more than Sancho in 4 months than what Sancho's done in 2 years. Sancho is a flop with Radcliffe in. He's a Liverpool fan. He's a troll. But big up to you anyway. But listen, people, let's get straight into it. Let's get straight into the breaking news. And that is Ineos's valuation of Manchester United is higher than of Sheikh Jassim in the final bid. Could prove well significant. A prepared bidder expected in the next 7-10 days. But this is the key word that we have to discuss today, and that is, well, the breaking news that we didn't want to hear, really. Um, 1 second, let me just get this up now here. But that he's in pole position to take over Manchester United. Neeks, before we delve into it more and more, how you feel about the news that's been brought up to here? This is, by the way, not a higher bid. I want to stress you that here. The package is higher than what Jassim has put in. And we've got Andy Tate also here as well. But yeah, let me get your thoughts and views first of all, Neeks. You know,
Yeah, I want to say because obviously there is a bit of confusion about like I thought the Jassim's bid was higher, etc. As far as we're aware, Jassim's bid on a monetary value is higher.
higher, yes.
He's bidded for the whole 100%. So the 69% that the Glazers own and the 31% that's on the stock market. Now, because Jim Ratcliffe is only bidding for, I think it's around 50% or maybe 70%
Yes.
ownership, the monetary value of his bid is lower, but it values the club at a higher value. So let's say, for example, he bid 4 billion for 70%. That puts the value at the whole 100% Man United at 5.7 billion. Whereas Jassim might just bid 5 billion, which obviously then values the whole Man United at 5 billion. So that's the words obviously that's being used in terms of valuation. And the reason why that puts Jim Ratcliffe as the front runner is because the Glazers, when all is said and done, don't really want to sell. And we've kind of known that from the outset, and we've known that it's going to take something extraordinary for them to sell, extraordinary bid. 5 billion, is still a high value considering the actual value of Manchester United. But we know that Avram and Joe will prefer to stay, in some control of Man United. And of course, we heard the news. I don't know if you heard it from the Athletic, David Ornstein, a few days ago, about even if they keep 20%, they may still have more voting power.
And this is what they want to do.
Exactly, because of the Class A
power, the club.
and Class B shares. So for me, when I hear that one, Jim Radcliffe is willing basically to keep the Glazers with 20%, or the Glazers want to keep a 20%, and that 20% can actually have more power, voting power, than his 50% or whatever it might be, I'm concerned. I'm heavily concerned. I'm concerned already that they may even still be leaching money from the club. But the fact that they can still have control over the operations, what has actually changed?
Yeah.
All it means is that we've got more hands involved in Man United, but the power still sits with the people that we've been trying to get rid of. I cannot back any bid that keeps the Glazers, not let alone with a percentage, but the fact that they can still have control over the club. I can't back that. And so when I hear that he's a front runner, considering everything that we've just mentioned, I'm worried. I'm worried. And my question becomes, where are we actually going? What are we actually doing? What is this all about? It's all about the Glazers not wanting to put their own money into the club and but knowing that the club needs investment. That's all it is. It's not a change of ownership. It's not a change of plan. It's not a change of direction.
And the thing is, you know, Jim Ratcliffe, like I said to you, now has made bed with the Glazers. He's tried to worm his way in, and he's done it as a package. Whereas Sheikh Jassim has said, right, here's the bid, here's the actual money that's there in front of you. But obviously now with Sheikh,
this is it,
basically, isn't it?
This is it. One of the first like PR moves that were made when and it's not even just in the recent few months, but prior when maybe a year or so ago when we were talking about I think it was the Red Knights and that kind of stuff. He's positioned himself as a Manchester United fan, and that is obviously to endear him to the Man United fans to say yes, he's going to have what's his best interest for the club. And I'm not here to say what makes a Man United fan or not, but what's clear from this is that he's the businessman first. And the fact that the Glazers have always welcomed investment as an opportunity rather than a full sale, he is playing into that. He's saying, all right, well, I'm happy to invest X amount of money because I know that you really want to stay. So he's positioned himself and put together a bid that pleases the Glazers both financially and operationally, that they can remain in charge. No true Man United fan will keep the Glazers in charge. So I should say he's a businessman. As simple as, nothing more, nothing less. He's a businessman trying to buy our club, and we have to analyze it from a business standpoint. And when I say business, I mean the football business as well as the financial business.
So Jim Ratcliffe's offer for Man United, this is what we've kind of been summarising. So Jim Ratcliffe's offer for Man United, which values the club higher than Sheikh Jassim, would see the Glazer family remain as minority shareholders of the club, depending on how much of a majority share Ratcliffe buys. Let's bring you involved there, Michael. I know you've been on Twitter discussing it and whatnot. What do you make of it? Is it a sneaky move from Jim, or is it a clever move? I know we're speaking as fans, but listen, if he's doing that, that's his tactics, isn't it, basically?
Yeah, I think Nick said it. He's a businessman, and from a businessman standpoint, it's clever. He's doing what he thinks can get him the club, and that is the kind of use the Glazers' unwillingness to let go completely of the club. I don't think that they'll have control with Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Like I think he's gonna end up with the 69%, which the Glazers have right now, and I think the Glazers will join the 31% minority. I think that's what will end up happening because I don't think he's gonna bid $5 billion to not have control of the football club. I don't think any sane person would do that.
The fans don't want that though.
I don't think none of the fans want that. But I think that's what his end goal is here. The Glazers, I think, and this is what the Glazers want. This will all come down to whether the Glazers want to completely leave, which they'll take Qatari's bid, or if they want to somehow stay in the club and whatever their shares. Because if let's say Man United becomes successful, right? Those shares from the 31%, that could end up being a lot of money, which will end up making them more than what the Qatari bid overall would make. So they might be thinking it from that standpoint. So I get what Sir Jim Ratcliffe is doing. I don't like it personally.
Yeah. Oh, is he cut out there?
Okay. But also because...
Okay, you're back. You're back. Yeah, you're back. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. Yeah, I was saying, what's it called? I think Jim Ratcliffe, the debt not being cleared is my biggest concern because I think Ineos are taking on that debt. So it's not on Man United's name no more, but do I trust Sir Jim Ratcliffe to be able to clear that debt, or do I trust him to not put that debt back on Man United is the biggest worry for me. And also, do I trust him to have the funds to rebuild the stadium? Not really. Sheikh Jassim has promised to do all that, so that's why he was my preferred bidder. But with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, obviously he's better than the Glazers, and I've also read a couple since like he became in pole position. At first he really did bad with Nice, but over the last couple of years they've actually gotten a lot better. He's cleared all their debt. That he's revitalized their whole training complex. It looks more modern of the state facilities now. And I've also heard previously he wanted Michael Edwards at Nice the moment Michael Edwards left Liverpool, and he's also in contact with Paul Mitchell. So if he could bring them, then that's kind of a good starting plan for him. So I get that aspect but from the money and all the stadium, the debt is why I prefer the Qatar. So I obviously prefer Qatar, but if Sergeant Ratcliffe can show that he has a structural plan for Man United, I'll be more open to it.
Absolutely. We've got a couple of super chats to bring in. Obviously, this one's a Liverpool fan. Ryan, he says, Ratcliffe, what a man, clearly very passionate about your club. You guys are very lucky. Obviously, he's trolling United fans in the chat. Big up to Nazaruddin, says, Saeed, I'm scared, man. The fans must protest against Villa on Sunday. Yeah, we will, man. We'll be there tomorrow and get the game called off like Liverpool. Otherwise, I fear for Man United. Ratcliffe wins. Big up to ARM, he says, read and comprehend article. Don't just read the headline. Too much misinformation throughout the whole process. Absolutely. That's a key point there as well. And also, that's why we're here to debate it and obviously talk about it in depth. Masood says, sorry to tell you, but the Glazer leeches are staying. I never believed they are going to just hand over their biggest asset. Ratcliffe is a rat. Adam, before we bring you on, Andy, Adam, and also we've got Tom, journalist one, who I think for me probably knows everything there is about this as well. So Tom, hold it there. I'll bring you in when you need to. But Adam, what are you thinking of the news here? Yeah, give me your thoughts on what we've kind of discussed and your thoughts on what's happened.
It really is sickening, if we're being honest, because I don't understand Ratcliffe's motives. I think he just wants to be owner of Manchester United just to say it. I don't think he has a plan. I don't think he has a vision, but he wants to own Manchester United. It feels like a bit of his pride is involved in all of this, and he's willing to do whatever deals with the Glazers are required to get his name as an owner of Manchester United. And that is a problem to me. It really, really is not the right way to go. And we don't need to restructure this and get some debt from the Glazers and move the debt to Ineos and this and that. We just need to start fresh. We need to start the club from the beginning, from scratch, and it's annoying. And the thing is, let's suppose, and I think it's a very good nuance that Nix was talking about. The valuation of the club is higher because his 5 million bid or so is not for the whole shares. So that makes, of course, the valuation of the club bigger, and that's a very good thing it's a good nuance to understand. Maybe he didn't bid more money than the Qataris, and I doubt he did. But my problem with the Qataris, I think, and it's not really a problem per se, but I think it's a bit naive what they are telling people because they want to invest in the stadium. Beautiful. They want to invest in the Manchester area around the club. They want to invest in the infrastructures. But those things are good for us. The Glazers, they don't really care about that. They could burn the whole place down as long as they get their money. So as much as the Qatari are absolutely right in this and they have the right mindset and the right plan, that sort of talking is good for us. So I think the Qatari, they almost have to take a bigger loss. They have to spend the 7 billion for the club and then spend in what they want to do for they are getting fleeced in this thing because we know what the Glazers are. But this to say, and it's a very, very fair point from the Qatari point of view, to say that, look, you left the stadium in an absolute mess. We need to build structure. We need to build training ground. We need to build everything. So you cannot ask for 7 billion when after 17 years, you just let the club self-destruct. But the Glazers, they don't care. They say, yeah, okay, fine, but that's your problem from now on. It's not mine. So you give us the money or whatever, because if you plan to build a stadium after that, we're not involved in it. So do whatever you want. And it's just annoying because I'm Ratcliffe, man. I think he's a bum, if I'm being honest with you. I don't have much time for him. Like, just get out, just get lost and let us go through with our thing. Because now you're just slowing everything down. So, man, it's a piss take. Really, really is.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I'm going to read a tweet here from, I think, is it Ben Jacobs? I think he's normally quite knows all of this kind of stuff. I'm going to read a couple of super chats as well. Zoateng TV says, if I were the Glaze, I would take Sir Jim bid, keep 20% and sell 50% for 2-3 billion. Obviously, that's what he's trying to do. They are also, they profit and also keep a big stake in the club. I want Qatar. Life says here, no, not for or against. You are not updated here. Jim is not buying if the share structure is redone, so his shares will take control. Please keep updated. Andy, are you updated? How's your feeling right now?
My phone's buzzing. Paddock going mental. I'm really fuming because of this breaking news in the last 15 minutes. Just wanted a quiet night. It's quiet Saturday night, no football, bit of computer games. When this happens, so Sir Jim, this is your legacy. 20 years from now, it's going to be about debt, your ego. I'm a Failsworth boy. I'm from Failsworth. But basically, mate, you're just a rat. You're a snake. You're vile. Your company's corrupt. You're corrupt. And all you want to do is just, like you say, you just want to own Man United. That's your boy-up dream. I own Man United. I'm not going to do anything. 10 years from now, this may sound negative. Like, we won't have a new stadium. We won't have a new training facility. We will be second rate, and we will still be giving out contracts to overaging players and this, that, the other. And we want to be on a competitive level. We want a full sale. And I'm just going to say this. This is not provoking, but it's going to get tasty tomorrow. Very tasty. And you're going to see a backlash, a big, big backlash. I'm there. I'm working tonight, and I'll be finishing at 6. I won't be sleeping tomorrow. This is Avengers Endgame. This is the endgame. Yeah. It's going to end one way or the other, and it's going to get nasty. It could even get violent. I don't want it to be, but you know what? It's all it takes is a few nut individuals, and this could be a Liverpool game again. It really could.
Yeah, and you know what?
They're hanging back, aren't they? Because of this. If what happens tomorrow, Sir Jim has remained so quiet since Tuesday, since that story come out. Ineos have not said anything. They want to try. Oh God, we have to ride this out. We have to get somebody to appease the fans. They'll get some ex-players on board to try and appease the fans. Try and smooth it out. It ain't gonna wash, man. Full sale only. I want guitar. I want to build a Death Star and rule. That's it. Bottom line. I'm going tomorrow. My dad's going tomorrow. It's gonna get tasty.
And you know what? Can I just say quickly something? Just quickly, Saeed. Another thing as well. How old is Sir Jim Ratcliffe? Because now we might have another.
He's 70. He's 70 years old.
70. Yeah. I thought it was old because we might have a Malcolm Glazer situation again in 15 years, and then we have Glazer's grandchildren and Ratcliffe's children as well. And I'm not here for this.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Probably there's a Qatar tweet. New game. Yeah, I knew that one. Tom, obviously we spoke yesterday.
Yeah.
But yeah, give us your lowdown as to what you think's going on. Is it good news? Is it scaremongering? Is it all PR? Is it how do you think? Because a lot of United fans are worried at the minute. Just to stress though, Tom, there won't be any more bids after this, will they? The bids were the last bids, weren't they?
Yeah, these were the last bids. Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, just to let people know, what should fans be worried right now, or is it just scaremongering at the minute?
The reason why people are getting worried is because they believe, from what Mike Keegan has stated, that Manchester United, that Sir Jim has bidded more than Qatar has. He hasn't, technically. Sir Jim has valued Manchester United. It's the 69% shares that the Glazer family own. He has got to the evaluation of what Manchester United is worth, 69% of it.
Yeah.
Sheikh Yassim has valued Manchester United at what he believes is valued at 100% of the club. This is where the misconception has happened. Sheikh Yassim has made a bigger bid because he wants 100% of Manchester United. And if you want 100% of something, you have to bid more than what other people do.
Yes.
So Jim, because he knows he does not have the financial powers to go for 100% right now, and it's day-dotted, because if he had the money, he would do it. You would do. But because he doesn't, he can only go for what is there now, and that is the 69%.
Oh, it's gone off mute there. This is it. Again, like I said to you, people, it's to get inside. No, and also he's played it smart though. This is the thing though. He has played. Sorry, are you there back there, Tom?
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah. Just to let come up on my laptop, that were all. No, like I say with Sir Jim, he's gone more from a strategic approach. He knows he doesn't have financial powers to do things. But the one thing we can say anyway with Sheikh Yassim is he has, if you like, overwhelmed supporters, because people think he's this rich oil rigged person. He's from the state of Qatar and things like that. But he has underwhelmed fans. We have to be real about this, because the one thing that you can say about Mike Keegan, and this isn't to disrespect him, because he is somebody who you have to respect as a journalist.
Yes.
Journalist. But he was the one who was, Qatar are going to blow everybody out of the water. And suddenly, now Sir Jim's cooked up some master plan where it only harbours Sir Jim. And the only thing is, Sir Jim cannot beat Qatar to buy 100% of it. He knows this. And anybody here should know this. He does not have the money to outbid them or beat them in that way. He has to cut a deal with people, and he has to cut a deal with the Glazer family. And long and behold, he has done, because he said, I will buy 50%. But the only problem that Sir Jim knows with that is he can buy 50%, as David Ornstein has already said. You can buy 50%, but you can still not control the club unless you negotiate with the Glazer family to turn their Class B shares that they own into Class A shares, and you take the clause that is out of the actual agreement with the Glazer family's ownership to then state that anybody can own the Class B shares, not just the Glazer family. And unless you can negotiate with them to do that, you will not have control of Manchester United, Sir Jim. So when he has now come out, and this has come from Sir Jim's camp, we know this, because you've got to put something out there, even if you don't want to put it from your spokesperson. You've got to leak something to try and get some people on side, because he knows he lost a lot of people when the reports came out about he only wanted 50%. But from there, do you honestly think now that the Qatari group are going to sit on their hands and think, do you know what, we're going to let Sir Jim just talk all these bollocks to the media and we're just going to let him preach? They're going to come out with something. They're going to leak something to somewhere or somebody to, if you like, fight back against this. And the only thing we can say in this case, just as a final point, is when Sir Jim has valued Manchester United, he's valued it at 69%. So no wonder he's got to a different number than Sheikh Yassim, who has valued it at 100%, but he knows he can only buy 69% right now. That's the difference. And that's where Mike Keegan has put the statement out, and he has, if you like, misdirectly misled fans, where he states that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has valued more than what Sheikh Yassim has. He has to value it more because he has to pay more for 50%. Just like Sheikh Yassim is paying more than he has to for 100%. You have to do it, otherwise you're not going to get the club. It's as simple as that.
But the problem is, though, we don't want him to do that. We want a full sale, and that's what the fans.
That's the thing. Well,
and this is what the fans.
Saeed, let's be honest though. Sir Jim will know this. He has a PR team. He has people who have purposefully leaked this out to get, if you like, fans on side, because, like I've already said, he lost a lot of people when those 50% that he only has 50%. And the reason why is he doesn't have the money. But do you know a funny thing with Sir Jim is he doesn't have the money to buy the full 69%, but he also doesn't have the money himself just to buy the 50% right now, because he's still borrowing to get 50%. Why are you like, Sir Jim? If you don't have the money, don't bother competing. There's no point, because he could use all this money to finance to get the club, and then when he's actually got it, he might not have the money to do a stadium. He might have to do Daniel Levy and get a loan on a new stadium, and then suddenly you've got more debt, and then you've got more problems for Man United. And overall, you come back to the same point. The deal that he wants to cut still keeps two of the most influential and the most hated members of the Glazer family in control in some case. But as I said to you before, Saeed, yesterday, that deal for the 50%, it doesn't make sense for Sir Jim unless he can negotiate to change their shares from Class B to Class A, and it doesn't make sense for the Glazer family to do it, because they would then be in Sir Jim's pocket in terms of they have no control over something that their siblings are getting paid billions for, and they will only get 20% of whatever they try and sell it for. So they might not end up with £3 billion like the other siblings. They might only end up with 1.5 to 2, which then they have, if you like, undervalued themselves. So they lose money. And we know these people, they don't like losing money. That's the end of it all.
Absolutely. Big up to Ryan. He says, I can't lie, what Mike Keegan and Ben Jacobs have said that this bid from that Jassim is actually pretty crap. He might be a fraud. Big up to Aslan. He says, Sir Jim Ratcliffe bid is for majority control. So honesty point irrelevant here, as new agreement would be needed. A question is, why would they stay with no control?
This is why the Ornstein's point isn't irrelevant, because why would they stay if they have no control? That's the question. Why would they stay? They would only stay if they're gonna have some kind of control. So if the bid, as Tom said, if the bid comes in and it's inclusive of a renegotiation of those Class A, Class B shares, then the Glazers will say, well, they might say, well, F it, I'm not doing that. So you're either going to buy the whole club or you're going to buy 50%, and we're still going to keep the agreement of those Class A or B shares. There's a lot of information out there that, obviously, a lot of it is NDA. We don't know all the information, but any deal that keeps the Glazers involved in the club,
exactly,
it's a worry. Whichever way you want to spin it, who has control, who has this, who has that, it's a worry, because the Glazers, again, themselves are businessmen, and they're not going to put themselves out of pocket. They're not going to leave themselves vulnerable. So if they're staying, for me, knowing how they've acted for the last 20 years, it's a problem, because they're not staying just to be led by Ratcliffe. They're not going to.
Well, they won't set foot in Old Trafford now. If this goes through, they will not come near Old Trafford. they will sit out from afar and just count their money, because they will let Sir Jim take all the heat, and they will be silent and annoying little rats.
Well, guys,
I'm gonna.
Say though, when you break down the numbers, because it's rumored that Sheikh Yassim has bid £5 billion for, as he calls it, 100% of the club. If that is his bid, right, then we know what he, if you like, values it near. He doesn't value it at 6, he values it closer to 5. In Sir Jim's case, he wants the 69% I just said about. Let's just round it up so it makes the numbers easier. Say the Glazer 70%. Let's say they own 70%, right? For 70% of Manchester United, if he values it similar to Sheikh Yassim, for 69% of it, of just the Glazer, to buy out all of the Glazers, he would be offering them £3.75 billion for the club. But if he then values it at 100% to buy all of it, if he wants to do the same as Sheikh Yassim, he would then state that the club is valued at £5.4 billion. So this is where Mike Keegan has stated he has valued it more than what Sheikh Yassim has. But he's valued it on a lower scale because he only wants the Glazer family shares.
The only thing, Tom, quickly, I don't know if you saw the tweet. It's just come out from Ben Jacob. I don't know if
should I put it up?
Just read the first, or read the first tweet quickly.
Read the first tweet. Okay, I'm gonna read the first tweet. I'm guessing it's this one, right? Big twist in the Man United sale progress. As revealed earlier on United People's TV, confusion over Sheikh Jassim's bid. Insiders claim 92 Foundation's total offer is circa $5 billion, $6.3 billion, but number includes a debt and around $0.8 billion, $1 billion in pledge investment, latter not on top.
And this is the point I wanted to make, because what's the debt now? It's about 500 million?
Yeah, around there.
So, and considering that 500 million is on the club, it's not on the Glazers, the bid for the club, let's take 5 billion bid, you take out 500 million, the Glazers aren't going to get that. Or the 100% isn't going to be, it's 4.5, because you take out the debt. Then you take out the 0.8 pledge investment. The bid for 100%, if this is to be believed, is around 3.8, 3.9 billion, and which the Glazers is going to get 69-70% of. So it's like it's very confusing, because we don't know exactly what value Sir Jim is putting on the club. What is he valuing the whole 100% at? It's hard to see what's the difference in their bids. How much? What's the monetary difference in their bid? Because if Jassim is valuing the whole club at 5 billion, Sir Jim might only be valuing at 5.5. Or if he's valuing at 7, then it's a big difference in terms of what the Glazers are actually going to get. Because the Glazers don't care what the other 30% go for. They want to know how much cash they're walking away with. And if that is to believe, then we're saying that Jassim's bid is closer to 4 billion in terms of how that money is going to be spread around 100%, as opposed to 5 billion. But it doesn't include the Glazers, so I can't back any other bid that includes the Glazers. But that's not the Glazers' issue. The Glazers want to know how much money you're going to get. And that's the only thing that's going to decide, make their decision.
100%. This is what they want. I don't know if you're going to say something there, Adam, but this is what they want, and this is, again, now it becomes a situation of how much time now takes over this, in the next coming days, is in the next weeks, we're going to hear a significant progress on this. We've not heard from our side, which is good for me, because at the end of the day, we don't want one side of the media, coming on this story. So we're going to see what happens in the other side, and that's just the bottom reality. But tomorrow is massive. The protest will be massive. But yeah, no, 100%. It's interesting to see where this goes next, isn't it, Andy? As to the developments with Man United, because at the end of the day, like I said, honestly, it's not come out yet. Laurie Whitwell's not come out yet. It has been from this report has all come from Mike Keegan only. So that is important to stress as well.
Yeah, I think it is, because I would say most journalists are protecting their own investment as well, and their own reputations and egos. No players have come out and said anything this week. Very quiet. So basically, they're going to jump in bed, whoever takes over, full stop. No matter what they've said previously about his regime, their regime, what's going to happen. So this is ready to go. There's money there. There's a plan in place after in the next 6-7 weeks. There's money there from Qatar ready to go. He's got plans drawn up for transfers, infrastructure within the area to get the stadium. Has Sir Jim got any of that? I don't think he has. He couldn't string together anything at the moment. Talk is cheap when you just want power. Or Sir Jim says, I won't pile a debt on the club. He will, and we'll end up we will pay the debt, because Sir Jim will betray the United fans, and Ineos will, and we will pay for this, that, and the other from the next 10 years, and we will just be fighting for fourth place, maybe getting fifth, maybe winning a cup here and there, and it's just not on. This is enough. We cannot tolerate another decade of this garbage of this ownership. Another decade, like you say, the Glazers would mug an old lady and put the blame on somebody else. They would burn down Old Trafford and get an insurance claim. That's what they do. Do you know what they did with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when they built a new stadium? They made the fans pay for the new stadium. If you look into it, I've seen it. They threatened to take the team out of Tampa. They put it to the town of Tampa, and they said, you got to pay. They put it to the council, and the fans had to pay for this new stadium. They didn't put a penny in of their own money to pay for Tampa's new stadium. Hey, and what did they get? They get a pirate ship that fires a cannon every time they get a touchdown. That's the mentality, mate. It's all about money. Now it's gonna get nasty. It's gonna get really nasty. So Sir Jim, like I say, stay away, mate. Even if you do take over, I will tread very carefully, man. I'm not provoking anything. I don't encourage anything. But I will protest peacefully. But there's always a nut job ready to go, man. It's gonna get nasty. The 58 starts tomorrow from the Nag Z Deansgate, and it's going to be a peaceful protest all the way down to Old Trafford. And I won't be surprised if they're there after the game protesting. Nobody's going home.
Absolutely. Big up to OA says the only reason Glazers are considering Jim bid is because they have continued to make profit but have a fall guy. Qatar ownership would highlight their flaws. What do you think to that, Michael, in terms of the aftermath of this? The fan base, the trust. It's not what we need right now, is it? We need a full sale. The fans want a full sale. We're not here for minority stakeholders. We're not here. It's a full been like that for the past 17 years. You know, a full sale is what this football club needs right now.
Yeah, I mean, I need this to end as quickly as possible because we have summer plans to draw up. The longer this delays, the more controversy we're going to have over our summer because we need to make sure our targets are ready to get signed. Like, for example, Harry Kane. If this ownership thing takes so long, we're not going to have the money to go to Daniel Levy to go buy Harry Kane, which means we might end up in the summer with Wout Weghorst and Martial as our strikers again. No one wants to see that for another year. No one wants to see that.
We got midfielder Fred again.
Yeah, like our midfield.
Again, another season again.
And we're going to end up again without having a DOF. We're going to end up with having to go on Ten Hag's wishes again, and I don't want the manager to be all the power in the transfers. I didn't want that last summer, and I don't want that this summer. I need a director of football that will highlight the positions that we need, take the manager's advice on the players he needs, and if the director of football likes them, bring him in. But if he has alternatives, to kind of converse. And like with Jim Ratcliffe, the only rumor I've heard about what his plan is, all I've heard is Paul Mitchell is Ineos's preferred director of football to come in. Yes. That's the only rumor I've heard, which I'm fine with. I like Paul Mitchell. I think he's done a good job at Monaco. So if he could bring me Vanderson, for example, the right back, and Disasi, the center back, I'm very happy with those kind of players. So, but I've also seen he sign Ross Barkley and Kasper Schmeichel in the last year. So it's not all one on Dublin over there. But we need to end this quickly because summer, I think Ten Hag has already, I think there's been rumors of him being frustrated with the sale process and like the summer process. It might be a little delayed. We might miss out on top targets. Harry Kane, for example, Frankie de Jong, if we decide to go in for him again. Other Frimpong, Timber, who came out today saying that his transfer is almost done for the summer or something like that. There's a lot of players that we need to sign because it's not like we only need 2-3 players to sign in the summer, right? We need about 5 or 6. Ten Hag is the type of manager that likes his. He said that he wants his players in by preseason, and we're not. And our preseason isn't even in Europe this year; it's in America, so that's going to take a little time. So it needs to end up as quickly as possible, or we're going to have another summer where we're going to be bidding 50 mil extra on a player like we did for Anthony in the summer instead of getting them in June for a price that they're rightfully valued at.
Agreed.
You know, Tom, I know we're here. Most of us want the Qataris in, but we have to try and, play devil's advocate here. Is there anything positive about Jim Ratcliffe's ownership? Is there any? Because obviously, you can't. It's very difficult to answer that if they are stakeholders at the football club and they're there, then that in itself is a negative, and there's no positive in that. But is there any positives? If because there might be people there watching us that want Jim Ratcliffe United fans. Yeah, the pause. I don't know if he's there. Tom, is he there? No.
Breaking news. Probably got some information. That's why he's gone quiet.
Yeah. Neeks, let me ask you that question, Neeks. I know it's hard to kind of answer that, but at this stage here, is there any positives?
I mean, the only positive, which I guess that can come with any kind of investment, is that there'll be money available for the coach. That's the only positive.
Yo, no, bro, no,
that's literally it. There's nothing else because there's nothing else. I can't see if the Glazers have their hands in the pie. There's nothing positive about that. But as it stands, we have no money. Like we are broke.
Yeah, I know.
We maxed the credit card last season.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, if nobody comes in, let's say they just reject everything. Oh, we don't want anything. All these bids are. Then we're literally going into the summer with we can only basically sell to buy. There's no extra money. So literally the only positive, which should be a given of every summer with Manchester United, is that there's money for the owner to spend. But
I don't believe that. I don't believe
with Ratcliffe there's money to spend. I think, what, as ironic as it may sound, I think Ratcliffe is a broke billionaire. I think it really is that.
I agree with him. What's he done with Nice? Have Nice won the French title anytime soon?
They're in 10th place.
Have they done anything in Europe? So your legacy, Sir Jim, for the next 10 years is just keeping it respectable, top 6 every season with Man United.
Exactly.
The plan is flawed, mate. Absolutely flawed.
And then we know what's going to happen. We are going to spend a few transfer windows being linked to everyone and not really money being spent. And then after a few windows, we are going to splash 140 million pounds for Declan Rice, the English midfielder. And that's very, very underwhelming. But Yeah. How can you say they are not spending?
They'll just get a shiny new toy. They'll just sign one or two big game players to appease the fans. That's it. It'll be the same like Glazer. Sign Paul Pogba, sign Zlatan. Next following summer, Harry Maguire, Wan-Bissaka. There's your 3 new players. It'll be the same again.
Exactly.
It's just the same blueprint with different owner.
And the thing is, Manchester United is huge, and we have too much things to get right. The situation we're in is embarrassing. Like, we need unlimited money to actually get back to being a normal club. Just being normal. Just being able to have the money we get in and spend it, and then be able to sign players, and be mostly why we need to spend a lot of money and have a lot of money is people know the situation that we are in, the other clubs. So they are not giving us real fees. They're not asking the same money they would ask another club. If United comes knocking, it's always 30, 40, 50 million pounds more than probably another club would come. And we don't have the facilities, and we're just not in the right place to be able to say, you know what? We're not accepting that.
Are you telling me any other club would take this investment? Would Liverpool take it? If Qatar go away next week, right? Bid 6 million for Liverpool. Do you think Scousers are going to be protesting? I don't think so. Arsenal fans, even Tottenham.
But we did speak about that yesterday, Tom. Didn't we speak about it? I don't think the Qataris would go anywhere else. But this Jim Ratcliffe has already been at Chelsea. He's already flirted on somewhere elsewhere. He can flirt everywhere else.
But it's the first thing I said. He's a businessman. He's like, get the Man United.
Sugar daddy. A broke sugar daddy.
He belongs to the streets, man. Look at him, the way he behaves.
Yeah. Big up Leif. Absolutely looking forward to see the protest tomorrow. There is only this is the only influence we have, and it will surpass everything that is reported in the news. Absolutely. Dennis, who will Qatar buy if not Man United? I don't think they will. I genuinely don't think they would go to any football club. They want this club. But like I said to you, he's wormed himself in there, Jim Ratcliffe, when he knows he hasn't got the money. And like I said, it's clever business, you know what I mean, from him. Whether we like it or not, he's done it. And he's got it. Sometimes you have to get yourself in the door. And this is what he's done.
Yeah,
you know?
No.
I don't know. Wall Street. Is that what you're trying to compare him to, Leonardo DiCaprio?
But this is it, Saeed. Yeah, if you haven't got the money, you have to find another way in. His two options are, he can't just go and say, I'm going to just outbid Qatari. He can't do it. He has to find another way.
If the Gimps have still got them Class B shares, and he has got no power, no voting rights to say.
But that's where he'll find out, though. That's where he's going to find out.
At least he can say, on his portfolio, he can say, I own 50% of Man United.
That's all it is.
And maybe he's happy with that. Like, it's ridiculous.
That's all it is. That's all it is. And we said this many times. The thing with the Qatari as well. Let's suppose they get the club. Let's suppose they are the ones finally that buy Manchester United. It wouldn't be a surprise at all that you go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Stadium and then you see like Qatar Airways on their bands in America and their stadiums there. They can offer more than just buying the club. So maybe there are those deals that we don't know about. So like you said, he just wants to have his name as owner of Manchester United. And I think the Glazers would be happy to have someone else being the owner, still get some money out, but that new person is the one catching all of the smoke. I think they would have it.
Yeah. The only problem though is if they go down that road, if they don't have the Class B shares, they don't control the club. Therefore, they can't take any money out of it. The only thing they do is they only own 20%. So if ever they want to sell, Joel and Avi between them, whoever has more of the 20% would get more of what they would sell the 20% to, say, Sir Jim for. Or if Sir Jim didn't want to buy it all, they would have to try and find a new investor to go in with Sir Jim to then buy 20% off of him, which in many words, you would just have Sir Jim in the Glazers position wanting more investment or wanting a minority investor. That is literally, you would just reverse the role. Sir Jim would be the owner, but he would want an investor to come in and take a 20% stake and give him more. And then from there, that 20% worth of the value, that 20%, that could be an investment group, that could be an individual, it could be anybody. But as we've already reiterated, you could easily just have another Malcolm Glazer situation, because in 10, maybe 15 years, as I've always said with Sir Jim throughout this, is when this football club next comes available, or whenever it could do, he would probably be dead, because whomever gets this club 10, 15 years from now, they're probably still going to have it, because they will want to build the revenues, build the valuation of Manchester United, and they will still look to make a profit from it. But the only thing with Sir Jim is, when he has valued this and he is offering them the money that he has, and if he wants 69%, if you value Manchester United at £5 billion, for 69% of it, it works out at £3.75 billion. So the Glazer family throughout this have said they want £6 billion. But Sir Jim, you're only offering £3.75 billion for their shares. That's all you do. So if you want to buy all of the Glazers out, you're offering them £3.75 billion. So if Sheikh Yassim has made this world record bid, which if Joshua Blitzer, who's buying the NFL team, I can't remember which one it is, I think it's something to do with Washington NFL team or something, he's buying it for like a record figure. Anyway, when you buy something like that, so long as Sheikh Yassim bids over what Josh Blitzer is buying the NFL team for, and it's a world record, he's bid more than what Sir Jim has. But he's bid more for more of the 69%. The problem with Sheikh Yassim is, because he said he wants 100%, it's confused everybody. If he said, if he would have just said from the get-go, I want to buy the Glazers out, and done what Sir Jim has done, and say, I just want to buy the Glazers out for now, and then in the long term, I will figure out what I will do with the other 31% of the club. If he would have said that, it would have made a lot more sense, because you just value the club at 69%, or round it up as I did to 70. And if he's done that, bidding £5 billion, you've already overpaid what the value of Manchester United is, just at 70%.
But Tom, the Glazers have put it out though that they want a bidding war. That's what they've made it out like it's a bidding war. Like
it's not a bidding war, though, Saeed. How can you have a bidding war with a billionaire who's broke, and you have Sheikh Yassim, of whom all we've seen is 2 pictures of him, and you've seen a couple of his men walk around Manchester in Qatar.
Yeah, I get that.
That's all you have seen, though.
No, but the thing is, though, Tom, the first round and the second round, it didn't. For me as a fan, it looked like to me it was a bids. It weren't packages. It weren't. That's what it kind of
No. Well, they didn't know anything after when they put the first round of bids in. When they was valuing what Manchester United was worth, they was doing what all 6 of us and everybody in the chat was doing. What is the stock exchange price? That is how they can value what Manchester United want. And because it was changing from day to day, they couldn't accurately value it.
Yeah.
But before the second round of bids, both of the groups and minority investors met with representatives to go on a tour of Old Trafford and met up at Carrington, didn't they? From there, they then attained the financials, the revenues, they attained everything that they needed to know to accurately value what Manchester United is worth. And after the second round of bids, both of them made improved from last time. And from what we know now, after those talks, Sir Jim has suddenly realised or looked at it and think, oh shit, I don't have the money. Like, I can only even afford, I'm struggling to even afford 50% right now.
Yes.
If you're struggling to afford 50%, but your rival can easily buy 69%, where is this whole myth around that Sir Jim's winning the race? He isn't. The only thing is, and it comes down to 2 people, and that's Joel and Avram. If they want to stay, the only solution for them to stay is Sir Jim. Yes. But if them 2 decide, no, we want the same money that our siblings are getting, we want billions of pounds and we want out, you're not going to sell to Sir Jim because he doesn't have the money. Exactly. The only person who has the money is Sheikh Yassim.
But this is why he might be winning the race, because Yassim is running a 100-meter race and the Glazers have set up a 1500. They're trying to be here long term. They're not trying to get out tomorrow. They're actually trying to dig their heels in, because I guess the benefit to them is that, or the potential benefit, if they sell part of it now but keep 20%, and the value of Man United rises in the next 5 years, for example.
Yeah, if they start winning.
Right, yeah. You can't win anything.
it's not about Man. The value of Man United isn't purely based on Manchester United. It's based on the football industry as a whole. So if TV deals, etc., Amazon come in, etc. Let's say, for example, some kind of Super League does appear, then the value of football and therefore the value of football clubs go up. Then they can sell that 20% at a later date, which makes their total amount that they've of their stake that they've sold higher. If they sell it all now for what they would say is lower than the value of Jassim, then they've shortchanged themselves. That's the reason that they want to stay in. So that's the reason why Jim might be leading the race, because he's essentially giving them what they want, giving them some cash now and keeping them with potential cash later. It's a sad situation for us.
Jim couldn't pay for his pizza, and he's just come to an arrangement like in a very sordid movie.
Yeah. Right. So read a couple of super chats here. Kide says we need a football structure, not just peas. Zoateng, big up to Zoateng. He says, I think people are missing it. I don't think the Glazers care about control. They just want to keep a 20% stake to sell a future date for profit. And that's what needs to said now here. Maybe this is all a setup. This is all set for Super League too. And I think that Super League is pretty much dead really right now. Let's be honest.
Well, another thing, the Glazers are American owners. They don't understand football. They don't. The NFL, the NHL, all of those leagues in America, they don't work the same way. And sports is their business. They really don't. I don't think they can comprehend having a football structure with different leagues, with relegations, with promotions, not having a closed circuit with a salary cap when the over excess money goes into the pockets of the owners. This is why they wanted the Super League, because when you have a closed circuit with only 15, 20 teams, no relegations, no promotions, well, then you can put a salary cap and then you can start trading players instead of buying players. And all of that excess money that football clubs are producing, well, then they can do whatever they want with it. And now they just don't seem to understand the culture of the sport. And another thing, those Glazers, man, they are annoying as hell because they are spoiled billionaires. It's their fathers who did the whole job. And they just happened to be there. They didn't have to work for it. They didn't have to actually know. They don't know what it takes to actually be a good billionaire, for whatever that means.
Hard worker. They don't know what hard work is.
They don't know what it is. Exactly. And just
don't put a silver spoon in the mouth.
Exactly. You don't let a stadium like Old Trafford, like a mythical stadium, rot in the state it is actually. You don't do those things. We have an ounce of respect. And just disgusting. Just disgusting.
I feel for you. I know, mate. I know.
Big up to everybody watching. There's 1.5k in here. Appreciate all the people that's watching right now. But please come and get the likes up. There's only 381 likes. Let's get up to 1,000 people, man. We can do that easily.
Hey, do you think there'll be some Sir Jim banners, anti-Jim banners tomorrow? There could be, couldn't there?
Well, I don't know how creative are.
Getting made. Sir Jim out.
I think that tomorrow the kind of answers that I think the fans will put is that we want a full sale
on the Glazers out. Like, it's got to be.
And also it will be a full sale. So the message from the United fans will be tomorrow. We want a full sale. I don't think it's about even said Jim or
it's not.
But the fan base want a full sale. Obviously everyone has their preferences. I want the Qataris. I don't know. People in the chat want the Qataris, but ultimately, the fans want a full sale. That's what it is. That's what it is. That's what it comes down to. When you're saying, "Oh, well, I'll take 50%, and then the other percent, you know what? I'll let them have my minority stake because that's the way I'm going to get in." No, that's being sneaky. That's being snaky, and ultimately, it's not what the fans want. Let's just be honest. It's not. So this is where we're at now.
I wouldn't even be surprised if Sir Jim gets stabbed in the back. And they've got a plan up the sleeve them with the 20%. They could they could backstab Jim in the back. We'll get him in, and at a certain point, we can get him out. So I was.
Randy, let's say, for example, I don't know the full workings behind it, but let's say, for example,
nobody does.
Let's say, for example, so Jim buys, because they own 70%. So let's say he buys 50% of their stake. So they have 20 left. He has 50, 30% on the stock market. If them two then go and buy the 30%, it's a bloody 50-50 partnership. Like,
the only thing is they don't have the money for that, and the FA has already banned the leveraging takeover, so they won't be able to pass that fitness test again. They build it just for them. They build it just to go against what they did.
You said they ain't got the money. You mean they don't want to spend the money? They've got the money.
Nah, they don't got. Nah, they're broke, man. They're broke. He might not either. He might not either.
Are they going to let this mob go?
No, but they'll have the. Go on, Andy. Sorry.
Are the FA going to let what the FA have seen what has been done for the last 17, 18 years?
Yep.
Now Sir Jim's coming in bed with the current owners. Are the FA going to allow that?
Yeah.
Sir Jim to continue with the debt.
Yeah.
To continue they getting dividends.
Yeah.
It's kind of way.
The only thing is, I think because the debt is going onto Ineos, it's not going onto Man United, so they'll be able to get around that. It might happen later on, but when the test comes, Ratcliffe has said that the debt is going onto Ineos. It's not going onto Man United, so that's his way around it.
Put the debt in a Swiss bank account and bring it back. And
he could, but that's after the test, though.
Tom, what are you going to say?
The only problem is he's not declared if it's the full debt or if it's some of it. That's the only thing with Sir Jim. He has not been transparent on what he's going to do with the debt. All he said is, I'm going to move the debt to Ineos. Are you moving all of it? Are you moving 1p of it? Are you moving all 500 million pounds of it? How much are you actually moving? Whereas at least with Sheikh Yassim, he said, "Oh, that's all going. Like, I'm wiping it away. There won't be any debt on this." The problem is, Sheikh Yassim has been public about his plans and what he's going to do. The reason why he's done that because he has the money to do it. Now, I think we have to come to the conclusion that Sir Jim from the get-go has not had the money. Therefore, if you don't have the money in place, how can you plan to build a new stadium, to redevelop? How can you plan to invest, a war chest into Eric Ten Hag, into the men's team, the women's team, or, build up the academy? Like, you can't invest in something. You can't make plans for something that you don't have the money to then plan out and actually proceed with. You can't do it if you don't have the money. So overall, Sir Jim, and the only problem that I've always said from the get-go is he's using Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan for bonds and loans just to even bid. So if this 50% proposal goes through, he's a Manchester United fan, he's a multi-billionaire and all this, rubbish. Well, at the end of the day, the worst thing that you can do, Sir Jim, if you're a Manchester United fan, you know how much every single Manchester United fan detests the Glazer family. If you're a true Man United fan, you will know that. And when you have made a proposal, it doesn't even mean if it goes through. Even a proposal absolutely disgraces what a lot of Manchester United fans have done ever since these vultures ever came in nearly 18 years ago.
100%.
And it just wipes away the whole point that everybody has said. The campaigns, attacking the sponsors. You've done that for 18 years for one person who's supposedly a Man United fan who wants to put the heart and put Manchester back into Manchester United. And I've said it from the get-go. Sir Jim wrote you a love story. Qatar wrote everybody a plan.
A project, a vision.
He wrote a vision, a project. But with Sir Jim, all we know is he wants 50%, potentially. That's all we know. He just wants 50%. And like everybody says, listen, he could put it on his LinkedIn profile. Oh, I'm a 50% owner of Man United. Like, it's all good. I'll get
put it on his Twitter feed.
Blue
tick, man.
On his egos, isn't it? Billionaire egos.
This was
what is corrupt? Yes.
This was in March. Sources close to Jim Ratcliffe bid also say that any money borrowed to fund the takeover of Man United will be borne by the Ineos group rather than the club, meaning no fresh debt will be added to the club's balance sheet. This is what they're kind of saying, but then again,
anything have the money.
Once they have control, there's no telling what they can do. They can do whatever they want after that.
The thing is, though, in that, where you just look at the bottom part of it, meaning no fresh debt will be added, it doesn't mean we're clearing all of it. Because if you want to clear all of it, we will say, oh, we'll remove all of it. We'll remove half of it. We'll remove X, Y, Z amount of it. Not, we're just not going to add anything else onto it.
We'll keep the current debt. We just won't have no fresh debt.
So basically, we'll just change the name on the actual paperwork from
the frying pan into the fire.
Exactly.
And you know what? There is a very big problem when you get a debt to pay for another debt. That is bad news. It's like getting a new credit card to pay for your old credit card. This is not a good look. So I don't care where the debt goes. And maybe it's not on the club. It just means that there isn't the money. That means we are not going anywhere. I think Sir Jim Ratcliffe's bid is first wasting our time, and I think it's very insulting. I take it personally. I don't think he respects us in that matter. I really don't feel. I don't really feel good about this. He's just taking this. He wants his name out there, and he wants to say, like you said on his link.
He can sit at the table and drink his wine and have his fillet steak. That's all he wants.
We know what's going to happen. He's going to go back to the south of France. I'm not going to see him as well.
It's funny that you mentioned about the south of France. Anyway, with Nice, with Sir Jim and the complications that people have said that Sheikh Yassim would have to create separation with Qatar, it actually hurts Sir Jim more because he actually owns another club. Sheikh Yassim, in this case, and the 9-2 Foundation, they don't own a club. The only thing they have to do is prove that they are separate from QSI, which is, like I said to Saeed yesterday, it's very easy to do. You set up a business, the 9-2 Foundation. You say where it's based, Doha, Qatar. And the only difference is it's a private business. It's not a state-funded business. And that's how you get around it. In terms of Sir Jim, he is the controlling owner of Nice. Therefore, Nice and Man United can never play in the same European competition. So either suddenly, he's going to have to sell it for really, really quick, and he's not going to get a good deal if he's got to sell that really quickly.
Exactly.
Or he risks the complications that Manchester United, unless UEFA change the rules, which they're in talks to do, over multi-club ownership, unless he doesn't sell the Nice straight away, he's going to have a lot of complications to actually get through UEFA, probably more so than Sheikh Yassim would. But the one thing, especially with the Premier League owners and directors test is, yes, they've strengthened it, but they've not completely locked the door to state ownership or to people from states or who have nationalities to states. The problem, and like I said to Saeed anyway with yesterday, even under the current Premier League guidelines, Sheikh Yassim would pass the owners and directors test easily. And like I broke it down for everybody yesterday, when you go to UEFA, you state what company or what business owns the football club or is going to fund it.
You got to make it clear.
In Sheikh Yassim's case, it will be the 9-2 Foundation. In Sir Jim's case, it will be Ineos, or it will be Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, whatever. Then you go to the Premier League and you say, who's the controlling and ultimate owner? That's a person. So that will be Sir Jim, that will be Sheikh Yassim personally. And when you get past both of those walls, providing you've not got some illicit, characterization or, you've got some complications, you've got the problems. And like Andy mentioned earlier, would the Premier League still let this move through, even with the current debt that's there? Well, in Sir Jim's case, he's basically a minority investor just buying more of the club than a minority group because he wants more than half to control it. But unless he can negotiate with Joel and Avram to change the clause, he's not going to get very far. And this is why I say everybody who's worried about Sir Jim, I don't really know what you're worrying about, to be honest with you, because unless he can negotiate with these people, and we know they're very shrewd and they're very hard to negotiate when it comes to them personally, as we've known throughout, he is going to be in a long, drawn-out battle to try and convince them to change that over. And suddenly, oh, right, you want us to change it over? Right, you can add a couple more, millions on. You can add this on. You can add that on. We want a finder's fee. We want X, Y, Z, more and more and more. And this is where Sir Jim, people are saying he's got the advantage. Does he really? Because
it's more headache. It's more headache.
It's more headache and it's more work. And this is where
that's my point next, That's my point next is that you can't really blame Sheikh Jassim. Like someone made a comment there saying, that Jim Ratcliffe was smarter than Sheikh Jassim. I don't think it is, because at the end of the day, Jassim said he wanted 100% control. He wanted 100% say. That's what the kind of argument was. So I don't think it's him not being cleverer than Jim Ratcliffe. It's just Jim Ratcliffe being an absolute, let's be honest, he's snaked everyone and he's kind of like, he's found a way. Whether you find that clever for his perspective, as a United fan, because he said he was a United fan. He told us, let's put the United in Manchester United.
Where there's a will, there is always a way. And people,
but that's what I'm saying to you.
And that quote and that saying relies to anything. When you have committed, and this is the thing, Sheikh Yassim has not been reckless in terms of, I want Manchester United at all costs. So Jim,
but this is it. That's what some fans want. Fans want him to bid 10 billion for the club.
Exactly.
Because he's from Qatar.
It's like, nobody's going to bid more than what it's valued at. And even when you,
but the bids are already more than we're actually valued at.
Exactly.
Like we're having to actually, or these potential owners are actually having to overpay already. But people want, I'll just bid if Jim's gonna bid X, then just bid 7 billion. Well, come on, man, you have to be realistic.
Do you know the problem with Sir Jim though is when he went to buy Chelsea, you only need to just buy the club. You only needed £2.5 billion. He had £2.5 billion of his own money to buy Chelsea at that time. Right. When you take that and you take what the Glazer family want for Man United of £6 billion now, it is worlds apart. Worlds apart, because you need to add more billions on. And the problem with him is, him personally, he doesn't have more billions. And the banks that he will use or try to use are not going to loan you £4 billion for something that is overvalued. You can't go to a bank and say, give me a loan for a business. Oh, how much is it worth? Oh, it's worth 6 billion from what the people are saying. Well, we look at the stock exchange, it says it's worth 3 billion or it's worth 2.5. So you want us to give you 3 or 4 or 5 billion more pounds than what a value is actually worth? It's not going to happen. And this is the problem with Sir Jim. He as people have said, he's snaked everybody in this process. And overall, he has gone to this table and he's looked at it and thought, I don't have the money to compete with these people and what they want to do and what they can do. Right. So I have to reassess what I can do. And he's reassessed and he has miscalculated and he has misfired massively. Because anything, whether you keep one Glazer in or you keep all 6 in, any of them,
how many Glazers are there?
Any percentage,
6.
It blows up. It blows up.
5 men, 1 woman. Darcy, she's called.
Darcy, yeah. Well, you have Joel, Avram, Kevin, Brian, Darcy, and then I can't remember what the other one is. Yeah. Anyway, you've got 6 of them, but Joel and Avram have the bigger shares and they have the Class B shares, which ultimately control the club overall. But the person who has driven the whole selling, we want to sell from the Glazer family, has been Darcy Glazer herself, because she looked at it influentially and thought, are you really ever going to get £5 billion for a club that on the market currently is valued at nearly 3.2? It's ridiculous numbers.
But she might be the only Glazer as
well. The only one who has any sense. The only one.
She might be the only Glazer worth our time.
Yeah. Well, she can come back anytime if they all go.
Just to kind of obviously wrap things up and whatnot. I just want to go around and obviously give your last kind of thoughts on the situation. And then, just, what do you think this is now? Is this game over for you, Neeks, or do you think you still have faith? Do you still have faith?
I think we have to obviously look at sometimes where the reports are coming from.
Yes.
And who's pushing the news out there. Not to say the news isn't real or not, but the reason why some reports are coming out and some aren't. We know that Mike Keegan from the outset didn't want or doesn't want the Qataris. And he's made that pretty damn clear in multiple tweets. So am I surprised that the news has come from him first? No, we shouldn't be surprised. Not to say it's not true, but you just have to look at everything and assess everything.
Like that with Jim. He's like that. That's what they've been talking already, they have.
So I think we have to look at a lot of different information. You look at what he's reported, you look at what Ben Jacobs reported. Let's wait for some athletic news as well. And then we can garner a bigger, a bigger judgment on the whole situation. I know they're saying obviously this is the final round of bidding, but we heard already it was the final round of bidding. So if tomorrow, let's say for argument's sake, Sheikh Jassim puts in a 7 billion bid, for argument's sake, then the Glazers aren't going to say, sorry, you missed the deadline. They're going to snap his hand off. So these deadlines, in all intents and purposes, are still arbitrary because they have complete control. Nobody can tell them that they can't accept a bid post today or post next week. So I do have faith. We have to wait and see. Nobody said it's a done deal. You know, Fabrizio hasn't said, here we go. Like, let's be honest. So until as long as it's open, I'm still faithful. But we as fans have to make it clear, continue to make it clear that we want the Glazers gone 100%. And whoever that falls on, whoever that applies to, they will know. We know, who we're talking about. Who we're talking to. A full sell is the only way that we can see the light at the end of the tunnel as far as Manchester United.
Absolutely. Big up to Gareth. Says, when are you going to do a call in soon, my guy? I'm going to try and fit that into the schedule weekly now. I'm sorry I've not been doing it. Definitely next week, sometime next week. Big up to you, my friend. Adam, any final thoughts on this?
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about it. And another thing is, for me personally, I'm not really good with finance, stocks, economy in general. It's really not an area in which I'm comfortable. So I take the reports and I don't know what to believe. I'm not really that comfortable in that domain in general. So
I don't think anybody is, to be honest with you, not just you.
Yeah, there are some people who know the basics just well enough to read through an article. This is something maybe I struggle with a bit more. So still optimistic, but I'm telling you one thing. I'm coming to Manchester for the first time in my life on the 10th of May. And if I see Ratcliffe, Glazers, or Maguire, it's on site. One of them.
Big up to you, man. We welcome you to Manchester, man. Don't worry, man. Big up to you.
Thank you.
Big up to you as well, Michael. What do you reckon? Any last final thoughts on this?
I just want this to be over, to be honest. I just want a resolution as quickly as possible. Obviously, like Adam said, it's like I'm not good with the finance talk either. I was confused by that article, but the only thing that confused me even more is the NDAs. There's a bunch of NDA signs, so all these journalists throwing out money figures around. I personally don't believe any of it. The only people that know the money that was thrown in is Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Qatar, and the Glazers and the Ring Group. Those are the only 4 people that actually know the values of what was bidded. So I'm just gonna wait for the Glazers to make their decision. It's basically come down to this: do they want to leave completely? If the Darcy Glazer and the kids and everything, can they convince the parents to get out finally, or will they stay and take their 20% stake and hold that for the next couple of years? That's what it's gonna come down to. But I just want a resolution. I want the season to be over, and just so we get to summer, and hopefully we have a new owner by then, and we can start spending some money and get some new players in. That's the only thing I'm looking forward to right now.
Absolutely. Tom, obviously, you know what I mean, the next few days, as he says there, will be crucial. We'll find out. Listen, it could be a developing story. Anytime you might hear about this, you might hear about it just before the protest, because that's what they do. Just kind of quiet it down. You might hear it after the game if we lose. You know, you might hear it tomorrow morning. You don't know. It's an ever developing story, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. But at the end of the day, as people have always reiterated and said, whenever numbers have been involved with this takeover, notice how quiet it goes. When people start talking about numbers, or the Glazers actually have to look at these offers, it's stump. You don't hear PR from Sir Jim, Qatar, from the Glazers themselves, from Rain. You don't hear nothing. And as it's been reiterated before, the Glazers will look at all these offers.
Yep.
And they will look at what influences them the most financially. And if we're talking the most financially, Sheikh Yassim, in theory, should win. But, as I've said before, it's up to Joel and Avram. If they want to stay, Sheikh Yassim, mate, you can forget it, because he is completely gone. And these are the 2 people in the final remains of this process who have the keys or have the answers to everybody's question on this panel and to every Manchester United fan worldwide. When those 2 make their minds up and decide, do we want billions now, or do we want to hold out and maybe get more billions in the long run? That's up to them. But overall, all we can say is this: the Glazer family have a week. They have a week to 10 days to respond to all of the parties involved, whether it be Sheikh Yassim, Sir Jim, or minority groups, and give them an answer. You've been accepted. You're going to talk exclusively with the Glazer family, or unfortunately, they've chosen and selected another group and another party. If the Glazers want money here and now, they will choose Sheikh Yassim. If they want a strategy, and Joel and Avram in particular want to stay, they will then go with Sir Jim. And if people don't want to look at that, if they want a vision, they will go with Sir Jim. And if they want to still make more money out of it, they're going to go with Sir Jim. But if they want out now, and they want 100% of the finances, and they can get the best deal that they can, well, Sheikh Yassim can give you that financially because he has the money here and ready to go. So Jim, his money's locked up in JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs. Listen, it probably knocks up in Saeed TV for all we know, right? In the finances, but we can go for what we want, though. So.
Yeah, absolutely. No, big up to Tom as well, man. Listen, this is the guy that knows his stuff, man. So make sure you follow him on his socials. Andy, last message. Obviously, tomorrow the protests. We'll all be there at Old Trafford. But yeah, any final words for the fans? Any final words for yourself?
I'm going to use an old Manx saying, winner, winner, chicken dinner. That's what it is for Man United and the Qataris. As Del Boy would say, don't be a plonker all your life. You know what I mean? It's time to get them in and get them gone. So that's it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Guys, it's been a pleasure. We've been here over an hour, 20 minutes. Thanks to everyone for tuning in, man. Make sure you like the video. Like I said, we didn't think we were going to talk about this. I may have to do my Aston Villa preview later on, later tonight maybe, because like I said, right now wasn't the time to talk about Aston Villa because some things are bigger than football, and this is bigger than football. Yeah, all right. But yeah, guys, make sure you like the video. What you said there, Andy?
All right, come on the Villa.
Yeah, come on the Villa. But yeah, guys, make sure you like the video. Make sure you follow everybody's channels, man. And Nick Sport, Adam on Twitter. Make sure you follow Michael Griggs as well, Andy Tate as well, and obviously Tom Journalist on his socials. But yeah, listen, man, the fight continues. We'll wait to see what happens on this ever-developing story. All right.